I'm Rob from Barefoot Gaming, and today we preview V-RACER Hoverbike in virtual reality. So I should start by saying this game is not out yet. This is coming out in early access in April, I believe the developer said. Speaking of, there are 3 developers that put this game together, and you can't tell. It looks really nice. Except the menu. Guys, fix the menu. The menu looks rough. The game looks fantastic. Mind you, if you gotta pick one or the other, I'd rather have a fantastic looking game. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a futuristic racing hoverbike game. So you'll start off by adjusting the bike. You grab the bike and you hold it in between your legs and lift it to the right height. Your arms in the game will reach out to hold the handle, so do it so it feels comfortable. Your right trigger will accelerate, your left trigger will brake. You steer, not by turning your arms, but by leaning your head. So the harder you lean, the sharper you turn. And they actually did a pretty good job on this. One of my big concerns was this would be an issue for people with motion sickness, and I've put a couple people through it and nobody's had any issues yet. Keep in mind, this game, even the build I'm playing, is still the early access build, so it's limited in what it has to offer. For example, when it comes out, there will be 4 tracks. There's 2 easier tracks and one maybe more intermediate and one, I would say, more difficult. There are lots more tracks planned, and they also plan on putting like reverse tracks in, kind of like an ode to the Mario Kart style. All the tracks have a different feel, again, different sharpnesses of corners. In the beginning, when you're playing on different difficulty levels, you'll note that they'll have a line outlined so you can see where your best path is for making your quick corners. But again, when things start getting sharp, you're gonna have to brake. You can't just power accelerate through everything. You'll actually have to drive smart, at least so far. And there are a couple different modes that are gonna come right out of the gate. So you have a time trial. Your time trial is set up, you're playing against leaderboards, online leaderboards. You have a combat mode. So when you're playing in combat, you can pick up power-ups. Again, I don't want to keep comparing this thing to Mario Kart, but it's where my brain goes, especially when you're driving the bikes in Mario Kart, because there's pads that have objects floating on top of them, and when you drive over those objects, you pick up the power-up. At that point, if it's a missile, you can fire it off. If it's a homing missile, you can fire it off. And again, there's a bunch more in the pipe from what the developers are telling me. There's also a party mode that they've implemented, so if you've got a bunch of people standing around and they all want to play, you can load up a bunch of different names, and then you'll take turns. So you'll run for a bit, then the next person goes. You'll switch off shorter tracks, shorter runs. It's an interesting concept because VR shouldn't just be a single player experience. I love seeing them add extra stuff like that. That being said, there is no multiplayer in it right off the bat. This is something that they are prioritizing though. This is not something that is way in the future. In fact, last time I talked to the developer, my complaint about the menu, he said multiplayer is really one of their big pushes. And they want to be able to play against other people. I think in early builds, they've already got that happening. But on early access, you're going to be racing against bots. So know that in advance. So lots more coming. They talked about having different classes of bikes. For example, again, I hate to say it, but in Mario Kart, where you've got your 50cc or 100cc or 150, where they can make it more difficult by boosting the speed of your vehicle, that will become an option. Lots more tracks, like I said, as well as reverse tracks, lots more weapons, and they want feedback from the community. So at $19.99 US, when this comes out, if this is something that looks interesting, I would say, give it a shot. Thank you again so much for watching. This is a preview, so I'm not scoring this. I can't score a game that isn't even out yet. This sucker isn't even early access. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to the developers. He's active on Reddit. And that's it. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you again real soon. See ya.